on Echo. Echo.
Ooh. Once again, we can't identify who Raze is representing, but I do know Creature is representing Neeb. They have the WCS 2016 BlizzCon Final Portraits, and that is really cool. However, here we are, Game 1. Echo, as you just echoed, take it away, Tempo.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, in the bottom right-hand corner, representing Team Ascension Pro, it is the Purple Terran Raze.
And his opponent in the top left-hand corner, representing Team Ascension Pro, it is the Red Protoss Creature.
Man, who would have thought, right? Creature, I think, was one of the people that I had, I think one of the favorites. He was second place in the last one. And you, from the beginning, were like, yo, I think Raze is going to make it. I think he is one of the favorites coming in here. Very solid player. Has been actually practicing a lot, even after the patch hit.
Yep.
So, yeah. Well, I hope you're happy with your pick, man, because here he is in the finals, 3 games away from winning that first place prize.
3 games away, definitely. It's going to be a long and hard road, though, considering the games we've seen earlier.
You know what else is long and hard?
What?
A ruler.
What?
Or a yardstick.
I did a yardstick.
Yep.
Wow. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, they you can measure things.
Ooh.
You know,
measure just how good Raze is and Creature on
Indeed.
this matchup. But with that, the length of the TVZs, it's kind of like that really long and hard yardstick right there. The TVZs are slow, arduous fights over time, depending on how you play them, but generally our 2 semifinals ended up like this.
Yeah.
But really thinking about a TVP, sometimes it's a little bit more decisive battles in the middle of the map, or decisive battles wherever they may be. So I'm not sure if we're going to see just as long as finals, but of course it will come down to the mentality of the players. How willing are they to take big risks and maybe throw it away and lose the game, or maybe win it and take the game?
Yeah, and we've had the chance of seeing Creature's TVP a bit. I mean, although it was a kind of weird one against Ruff, it never really goes the way that typical TVPs are going to be going. But, we saw Creature playing a very kind of Oracle. He likes to maybe open up with Oracles and still take it into the later game, preferring to go for Colossi rather, Didn't really rush out Disruptors this time, but he was actually adding Colossi first, and then he would go into Disruptors and, maybe some other things, so...
Yeah. It's an interesting comp
Ground
where
army.
I think in the end, really, you get those Disruptors because sometimes the Terran is able to have so many Liberators, so many Siege Tanks, so much Bio, that you simply can't get near it. So you have to send a Disruptor shot in, and it's the poking sticks, that long yardstick you're talking about before. That you can
use it to
reach out and poke them, and you don't need to put yourself in potential harm's way with the main army. You don't have to try to take those engagements where maybe you lose everything to a few Liberators, and I do really like that style out of Creature with the delayed Disruptor after Colossi, after he has the rest of his army put together.
All right. Well, this time he is going to go right into the Robo Creature. I would assume that he's going to go into a very safe style. It looks like Raze is going to scout in here with the Reaper. What is he actually setting up for? He did end up taking his expansion. He's actually playing it pretty safe himself, and if he makes a Widowmine out of that factory, yeah, he might be going for something like a Widowmine drop. Still good, man. Medevac's Widowmine still do the same thing as they did in 3.7. So, did he actually get that probe there with that Reaper?
Looks like he may have. He's going to get out too. Great scouting so far, and you need to remember on Echo, of course, you have that easy way to jump up into the main, and Creature knows about that. Yet here for Raze, I really do think he's going to start up with that Widowmine drop. He's looking ready for it. For now, the Reaper once more for Raze will move in. Creature's Mothership Core is a little bit farther back, but still ready to defend this. And this is a key interesting thing to note, because Creature generally likes to go quick blink, or maybe not quick resonate glaives, more quick blink, and he's got to be super careful. Reaper's barely going to get away right there, but
he actually does, yeah.
Creature generally likes investing into the quick Robo or the quick Twilight, but this game he very specifically went for Mothership Core. I think it is because of that little platform on the map that allows the Reapers to jump up into the main. You are facing too much of a risk against Proxy Reaper if you don't open up with the Mothership Core. So he's very much playing safe in this game 1, even though he has 5 chances.
Indeed. It is playing, I would say to a T when it comes down to it. I don't think he dropped down a Twilight, though, so usually you'll see the Robo and the Twilight come around the same time. And this time he decided to just go for the Robo in order to be able to deal with the Widowmine, which, looks like it didn't get too much done there, did it?
Solid 6 kills at least.
Oh, that was
and
6?
Still it's surviving.
Oh my god, never mind. That's not bad at all.
The other Widowmine has not been killed. What's beautiful about this is Raze is waiting until he sees the Blink Stalkers go for the Widowmine in the middle line, and then he knows that there's no Widowmine in Creature's main base. So he may, or pardon me, there's no Stalker in Creature's main base, so he can then move in, and especially right here, he doesn't realize it, but the Mothership Core is not there either. He may have baited that Mothership Core out with his Reaper. And this is a fantastic, fantastic example of this player really not having a direct scout, but being able to infer a lot of things to find damage in this early game.
Yeah, I mean, he's going right into this, the Robo Bay. What do you think about that? Where, you know, he's just going to really rely on the Disruptor? Or is he going to go right into Colossus like he did before? It's definitely possible here.
The Disruptor... The Disruptor is possible. I'd much favor Colossi. It's a little bit more sustainable and not as scared to deal with. It's not burst damage, it's slow damage over time. Yet, if you're facing a push coming across the map, you can aim up some nice Disruptor shots where you can almost kite them, like with what you're seeing out of Raze, which is very common right now. But check out those double siege tanks. We'll see how that affects. With patch 3.8, they can't be dropped. If he gets himself into a bad position, he could be taken down, yet that is facing, once again, more of the Disruptor. The big shot, high risk, high reward engagements.
Yeah, I'm actually like kind of concerned. Okay, here he goes. Never mind. I just wanted to... Yeah, I don't think you can safely go up to Blink and go up to Colossus at the same time, so he wanted to get the Colossi out in order to deal with this threat right now.
A very Heart of the Swarm Wings of Liberty style build.
So, I think it's going to be a bit more effective here, because Blink Stalkers aren't really going to help you at this point in time. So, getting the Colossi out allows him to poke at least at that infantry. And then eventually he should be able to start... I don't know, do you think he can work on the tanks a little? I don't even know if... I think that tanks would outrange it, especially with the new Colossi.
It's really hard right here, because Creature wants to be patient, but at the same time he had high ground vision for a little while. Mothership Core is sniped right there. There will not be any time warp, no more Fortune overcharges. Pylons were sniped. We do finally have the Colossi, which is what Creature is waiting for. He's moving forward into Raze's army. Both siege tanks are shelling.
Oh my
god! A lot of damage. The Adepts and Colossus push those medevacs back. Both siege tanks are cleaned up, but these medevacs looks like they may be able to angle into the main. That was a very nice cleanup, though. The siege tanks, even though they did a lot of damage, there was just enough damage coming out of the Immortal Colossi to clean them up. Creature did a very nice job, played it very patiently, and didn't jump the gun.
Yeah, he waited for the Colossi to come out, and he also made it Immortal right beforehand, so that definitely helped in taking out the siege tank. And Raze doesn't really get that much done, and he hasn't been making workers. So he is looking to go for a 2-base all-in, most likely, unless he decides to, you know, do this attack and then start making SCVs again. But I'm not really sure if that's going to help him out. You know, at least... I don't know. I'm just wondering here if that's exactly what he wants to do.
Well, he has timed it out pretty well for +2, or that may be +1 actually. No, I think that is
+1 here for our Terran and +1 here for our Protoss as well.
Yeah, so for Raze, he does have this nice timing that's opened up with +1 finishing up. Getting +1 armor, it will help him in the long run, but it's not immediately fueling this quick attack. It's actually going to, in theory, pull him back a little bit. But right now, it doesn't matter because he's going to move out, hope he can do enough damage, maybe kill the third, and then expand into another base. Do remember, Raze has a 20 supply lead overall. That's not in workers.
Nope.
That is an army. He's at 80 to 53. These two Colossi, if they're caught out of position, will dissolve to the Terran Bio DPS.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, how crazy would it be if he ended up pulling workers? I'm wondering what's trailing behind all that. And it is not indeed, yeah. I was like, oh my god. Ruff ended up doing it on Overgrowth, and I was like, is this really back? Are we back here in Heart of the Swarm just because it is Echo? But it isn't going to be the case here. He's going to try to just get this attack going down. Colossus are not the ones, the big beast that they used to be. You know, they still look scary, especially with that new skin. But they really are just not as good as they used to be, but they still provide that nice sustained damage from afar.
Creature has to be so careful. He has some force fields out. He has Colossi Stalkers, but it's such a fragile army. If at any point there's a surround that Raze is able to attain, Creature is going to die.
Yeah.
This army's got to be so careful, but if he can just slowly pick away, and you see this Disruptor, this is what I was describing a little bit earlier. When there's too many Siege Tank Liberators, you can't directly assault through that. You need to find just the angle to send the Disruptor shot forward and do a little bit of damage, maybe cut the bio in half, and then you can start dealing with it.
Oh, man.
Creature cannot move into this. He's got to wait until the bio gets a little bit greedy and gets a little bit overexcited, and then he can capitalize off this Disruptor.
Oh boy, it looks like he wants to go. Blink is done. Charges on the way. Disruptor going to get stimmed on, and it does get taken out. But, you know, Raze is going to lose a few of his units there, but I think he's pretty happy with taking out a Disruptor.
Disruptor will also be good to take down some of these siege tanks, which have secretly moved forward as that small amount of bile stemmed forward to kill Creature's Disruptor. Creature repositions onto the left-hand side.
Yeah.
He's looking for a nice angle. There's not as many siege tanks, but there's so much power out here. He's going to move in, but his army simply does not have the beef. It does not have the turtle, or pardon me, just the health power, the tankiness
you need
to get through
turtle.
this. You need the turtle.
You need it. You know, I would say maybe flanking with charge lots on another side. I just don't know if he has enough time or if he can actually get there. Raze has to know that he's trying to set up for some kind of a flank, but he's going to go on in. He stims, but the Disruptor is here.
Raze sets up a beautiful concave that he's going to be able to tan in a second. The army of creatures kind of stuck between some of these siege tanks.
Oh, what an
getting
awkward
shelled
position.
on a lot, already taking some preliminary damage. They're doing one Disruptor, which could change the tide of battle.
Sick
nice
force fields, yeah.
Creature has waited as long as he possibly could. Is actually getting damage done and defending, but this is so scary. Any misstep from either force will lead to disaster because they both need to get in a position and set it up, but that takes a few seconds. Whether it's for force fields or siege tanks, either player can lose this position incredibly easily, and it looks like finally Raze has found his opening and is going to stem up into Creature's natural. Creature is sectioned off into his third.
Uh-oh, yeah, now Creature has to make a decision. Is he going to go in? That's a hell of a lot of Liberators, and a lot of the zones are right there where he's trying to attack into. He's going to blink under that, but oh my god, GG.
Right there in the final moments, Creature, he had an opportunity, and he blinked kind of into the rest of the Liberators. He just wanted to blink into the ones shooting for the Colossi that were directly covering those siege tanks.
Yeah.
But in the end, that was a beautiful initial push from Raze, great Widowmine drop, and more importantly, I'd like to hint at what I was talking about earlier and just talk about that. I love that the Widowmine drop came in, dropped one Widowmine. Most other people would go to the main base and drop another one.
Yeah.
But instead, he knew he had a Reaper, he knew he had a Widowmine. So, where are the Stalkers with the Mothership Core? The Reaper jumps in, identifies the Mothership Core's position.
Yep.
The Widowmine, by sitting there, knows whenever Stalkers start killing me, there's an open main base. And that's exactly what happens. Goes in, gets an early 7 kills, I think, in total with the second Widowmine. So not too many more with that, but is able to ride that really well to a 20 supply lead.
Yeah.
And then makes that very slow, careful push forward and takes game one, currently 1-0 in this best of 5 for $500.
Wow, so Raze takes it, and it was a very patient game, you know. He also took the third base behind it and then added an armory, so it wasn't like, if this doesn't work, I'm screwed. I mean, if you lose your whole army, then yeah, of course, but there was almost no way to completely lose your whole army in that situation. So if he keeps up his production, and then he's also going to be starting to mine from his third, hey man, more power to you. It's always good that you have that backup plan for the upgrades as well. He was setting himself up for 2-2, and then he was also setting himself up for a third base. So, I mean, really well done by Raze. Even though he did delay that third for a long time, it ended up getting him the win because it was just too much production for Creature to deal with.
To keep pushing into that. It's hard on that map too, because you can easily get sectioned off into your third base as any race. Liberators can shut down those ramps at the third and not allow you to get out of there. And especially hard with Colossi, which you have a whole bunch of big important units, and that's exactly what Liberators want to face. They don't want to face a flood of Lings or a flood of Adepts. They want a couple big units that they can slowly hack away at and kill quickly. Here we are, though. Game 2 of this best of 5.
All right, in the bottom left-hand corner, representing Team Ascension, he is up by 1. It is Raze.
And his opponent down 1 game in the top right-hand corner. It is Creature. Protoss versus Terran. America versus America. These brethren, they are pitted against each other.
Yeah, and it's Team Ascension versus Team Ascension. I don't even know if they travel together, but I know a lot of the times the Team Ascension dudes end up traveling together.
Raze and Tesla do, which
I know that.
Which I want to bring up an interesting idea with that. I see a lot of Raze and Tesla play each other, and of course Tesla, he loves the Disruptor play. Also, I haven't seen him as much with Colossi, but I'm curious how that has affected Creature's play within this TVP of these players all practicing versus each other in longer games like this. How much does Raze have a read on Creature, and how much does Creature play typically like Raze is used to playing against Tesla?
Yeah, that makes me wonder as well. Like, when you're on the same team, you do bounce ideas off each other, but the coolest part is that you're able to develop your own style regardless. You have your own weaknesses, and you also have your own strengths, so you're going to play to the strengths, obviously. So even if Raze might, beat Tesla all the time, let's say, it doesn't necessarily mean that, he just whoops Creature too because he's a Protoss. Not necessarily. It could be a completely different game when they end up playing, 1, because they might not play as much, and 2, because it's a completely different style. Wow.
Proxy Factory here from Raze. A nice position. Most likely will go up into the starport and then either drop a Widow Mine into maybe a Liberator. You can also see some Banshee variations that are pretty cool that can happen. But what I love about this is since you proxy both of them, you're forced to utilize them, but with that, you can get so into your opponent's face with Factory and Starport tech, especially against Protoss, if the Protoss skips the first Mothership Core. The first one. If they skip the only Mothership Core.
Because you know he's going to lose it at least one time.
Check it out. Creature automatically gets Mothership Core. He's opening up safe. This is the best possible opener he could have versus Raze.
Yeah, and the only difference here is that he doesn't have a pylon in the back of his mineral line. His next pylon will probably go by the natural in order to have a frontal defense. So if it is some kind of a Liberator, then it is going to be really tough to deal with, but it does look to be that Widow Mine, so should see that medevac coming out there shortly.
Interesting Adept opener here from Creature. This is something that Neeb has done a few times in PvT, getting one Adept in a second and sending them across the map for some preliminary damage. However, with this, he's lacking a Stalker, which is the extra piece in the puzzle of being anti-Liberator. So, will Raze be able to identify this after seeing the Adept move across the map if it does, or by simply blindly countering it? Yeah,
I mean, he's going to get a good scout just with this drop anyway. At least if depending on if he boosts over to the right, he can at least see the robotics facility. But honestly, the way that it's proxied, there's going to be some mining time that gets lost, and luckily for Creature, his natural is done, so he might even just transfer it over to the nat. So maybe it won't be as bad as it seems.
One opportunity that Creature may have is after he gets dropped, he may just send both Adepts across the map, and they can start working on the SCV that Raze started in his natural to make a CC. So he may have that quick opportunity, but he has to do it right as this drop happens, and we'll see if that comes into play. Observer's almost out. No full turnover charges out yet because they're pretty bad pylon position to defend against that. One Widow Mine shuts down Creature's main base, and another one's looking to shut down the natural, but two Adepts are going to wait here in...
Oh, was it too late? Okay, good split there out of Creature. Not going to lose too much. The Observer is out. Down goes one of those Widow Mines inside of the main. And now if he remembers, which he should be able to bring that Observer down to the natural and then clean that up relatively easily.
An incredibly efficient cleanup. One worker for each of these Widow Mines. You don't want to lose those workers, but generally you lose so much more. So much more.
And the fact that it was proxied too, so that was a big investment. Realizing what the follow-up could potentially be, putting two pylons there, so smart out of Creature. Shouldn't have any problem dealing with this Liberator, especially with the Stalkers in range right here. So yeah, Raze is getting shut down pretty heavily, and he delayed his command center in order to make this work. Don't think it was really worth it though, Dranok. 30 to 40 workers kind of tells that tale.
But an overcharge plus two Adepts is going to be ample defense against these Marines. They are pushed back. Raze is almost getting a little bit too aggressive for himself. We'll see double one goes down. Whoa! There's the damage that needed to be done.
Okay, well, if at first you don't succeed, drop again. And I didn't say how many it was, but he did get a good amount of workers. He's evened up the worker count. About, I would say, 32 to 34. In Terran versus anything terms is probably about even, if not favoring the Terran just by a little bit.
I'd favor the Terran if the natural base was done, the orbital command. It's not quite done yet, but overall, yeah, favored or even at least. The one cool thing I've seen out of Creature right here is generally you're maybe relying off a quick blink or off of Stalker opening or completely off filter and overcharge. He is a little bit filter and overchargey, but we're seeing out of Creature the very patient play, pulling workers away, waiting, even using just a Mothership Core just alone without a filter and overcharge to kill a Widow Mine. Really worked out in that early game. He has taken damage so far, but it's important that in the early game, sometimes you waste all your units, but he's been very careful not wasting anything, and then finally when the damage is done, he's able to warp in these Stalkers and defend.
Yep, and he doesn't have any Twilight or anything, so he's not going to be able to use Blink. You know, anytime you make this many Stalkers, most likely you're going to want to get Blink and then go into that very safe style that we did see a bit earlier. You know, I think that he was favoring the charge the last time, or perhaps he ended up getting Blink and then charge, but...
He's done a couple cool charge lock Colossi pushes.
The Widow Mines don't stop, though.
Oh, and the Observer's not here. Just move out to scout for any air. Nice shot.
Can he get a few kills? Not bad, and he's keeping the worker count of Creature down for a relatively low investment. You know, the Widow Mine does not cost that much, and he's saving his medevacs. So.
This is always really rough. Always at the moment where you think, I can send my Observer out, I can finally get a little bit of map control. Boom, the Widow Mine comes in right as you send it out.
Indeed. Wow. So Creature was doing a really good job defending that, but, you know, Raze was very relentless and ended up finally getting the damage that he wanted done. And now we're going to go into that. Jeez,
Another
he doesn't
Liberator.
stop. Like this guy, he's just like, yep. Honestly.
You always slip up. There's always that one moment where you selected all your Stalkers to your natural and didn't resplit them.
Yep.
But what's what's beautiful about this is off the back of it, it's not just that Raze doesn't do anything, he has a very strong army, and the more important thing is Creature, he's going to ETL, but he doesn't have a lot to support this basic gateway army. It's not going to be able to push too well by itself.
No, and another one of mine inside of the natural as he, oh my god, Creature, he's not looking, and another big chunk of probes get taken out. Jeez, Raze is just brutal with this aggression, man.
So this is what counts right here. Creature is moving across the map. Also, there's Widow Mines in the middle. Warp Prism is ready. A lot of Stalkers right now at his 47 army supply of Raze to Creature's 36. The bio pushes forward. Stim is not done. Neither is +1/1. If Raze can buy a little bit of time, he will have that. But of course, this game will favor him if he buys himself a little bit of time. And Creature cannot allow that to happen.
No, he absolutely cannot. He's hoping to get a little bit of damage done himself, but the issue is just that Raze is solid on all fronts. He's getting crazy aggression done, really good trades, and then he just defends at home. So sometimes you'll see the Terran get a bit too aggressive, and then all of a sudden, Protoss is like, I'm fed up with this crap, and he moves across the map, and there's nothing there. Nah, man, not today.
It's a very fine balance, but when you're playing a player with such a smooth transition into the economic game, it's hard to do anything.
Yeah.
Raze's bio armies is going to intercept Creature.
Stim is not done yet.
He's looking to...
But he does have concussive.
So close. Concussive shells he doesn't have either. He's so close.
Oh my god.
There's concussive shells. Stim is just moments away. We see some Stalkers coming in for the reinforcement. We may see 2 force fields come out from the Sentry.
Yeah.
There's 3 force fields. Pushes the bio army back. And my Creature saves that army.
I thought it was going to die, right? Oh, so close and so lucky, but he's not out of the clear yet. We're not in the clear yet. And he gets away. So that was actually really good out of Creature, but now Raze is like, okay, if you're so worried about me attacking you, he's going to lift up the medevacs, go into the main. Full energy, though, or at least on the Mothership Core has a lot of energy, I would assume. Should be able to get some good damage, and that pylon is going to get taken out. That's 2 warp gates of production and a warping point, but Creature holds on tight.
The Colossus comes out barely in the nick of time. It has ETLs, able to push that off, and now Creature has some counter harassment of his own ready. At the same time, Creature takes a 3rd base, but he's going to have to defend a frontal attack that's getting larger by the moment from Creature. Repositioning in the middle, very heavy Marauder, and there's some sentries, but they need to get nice force field. This map is all about chokes. Daybreak is about the chokes, and right now, he only has this Colossus in his bad position. No. Bio stims forward. It's not going to focus it down at least yet, because it's simply too much. Raze takes the game. GG! Raze 2-0 with aggressive play after aggressive play. He believes in himself. That's really the guy who believes in himself.
Yeah.
He knows, you know what? That first attack didn't work. Try again. Try again.
And
drop again.
And do it and keep at it. And then, eventually Creature breaks and he's just too far behind in order to keep up with the actual army. Holy moly, man. Like,
beautiful plays.
It looked exactly. Like, I thought that Raze was just like, okay, Creature got his number right now.
And as I was mentioning, you get ready to defend against drops as Protoss. You have your Mothership Core, and you can defend that initial attack and you're feeling good. Maybe you defend the 2nd, the 3rd, but at some point, as I said, you don't split the Stalkers properly. At some point, you make an error. So what you need to do is put pressure on the Terran. That's what I was talking about. Maybe he sends out those early Adepts after they clean up the Marines, or maybe he makes just even 1 Adept sending across the map. He needs to make sure the Terran cannot completely just focus on those attacks, because the Terran in that position with a proxy has set himself up for victory if the Protoss is unable to disrupt him.
Exactly.
Kappa disruptor.
Hey, no disruptors were made that game either, though, right? It's like, damn. I don't know. Raze, he's tough. Not an easy opponent, and it's looking pretty scary. This is match point to an extent, right? Like, Raze only needs to win 1 more. It's best of 5, not best of 7.
And that would be his first tournament right here. $500 for Team Ascension. Either way, they win. But this is really big. We saw Creature power through, take down a number of players, and Raze is just saying, do you even play StarCraft?
Yeah.
Do you even play?
He's not even letting him play his game right now. Like, that's what's happening at the moment. So, Raze looking pretty good, I would say. And it's not even like Creature's a bad player either, right? No. Like, you see Creature play, even in PvT, like, he's a very solid player where he will defend those things, and he'll do it over and over. But like you said, once you slip up once, man, it really shows, and you just feel like you're helpless. And it's like, why am I losing stuff? And then you start getting flustered, and then you don't have your things in position, and then it's just downhill battle from there.
At least in Game 3, Newkirk Precinct, there's a lot more distance from your base to your opponents by ground, so the ground attack can be a little bit more delayed. You'll see if that ends up affecting our Protoss player. Here we are in the bottom left-hand corner, though. the Terran, the aggressive Terran. It is the purple player representing Team Ascension, King Raze.
Purple Raze.
Purple Raze. I like that.
I like that too. And in the bottom right-hand corner, it is the red Protoss player. He needs your support. Give it up, Bo Creature. Representing Team Ascension as well.
I feel like a lot of StarCraft games, when one player is very aggressive, comes down to how the other player reacts to it, not in necessarily a tech way, but how they react under pressure. Is it, do I decide to turtle up and defend a lot, or do I decide to move out and counterattack?
Yeah.
And it's a very fine line between those two when you actually start to find success. But it's always important that you do need to move out somewhat and counterattack. You do need to make sure the Terran isn't going uncontested, because if they do, it is just terrible for you. All their builds together, even just one Adept, maybe that throws out their engineering game. Maybe they forget this. You need to get into their head, because if you're not in their head, they're in yours. And if they're in yours and you can't get out of that, you're just going to keep forgetting things. Maybe not even forget things, but simply always be a step behind them.
Just being able to like mess around with them, right? Like they might slip up on their micro when they're trying to harass as well, and it's not as clean. So little things like that do help. And if you can, spare the unit, whether you get that Warp Prism out a bit earlier, not sure, but Creature needs to get something done here, man.
And Creature did have that Warp Prism out last game. He used it for the initial attack that went across the map, realized it wouldn't quite work, and rerouted it. But he was so focused on making sure he didn't lose that army, because he didn't have Blink, nothing to accompany it to add more agility to it, that the Warp Prism just kind of stayed in the bottom right-hand corner of Daybreak for a long time and wasn't utilized. And that's an example of Raze kept pressure on Creature, therefore Creature, whether it was forgot or simply couldn't care about it, or maybe he just was waiting a little while. Any of those things that happened because of Raze pressure to push him across the map after Creature attacked Raze.
Exactly. Oh man. Well, here we are. Newkirk Precinct is going to be the potential final map. Oh, Creature needs to really dig deep here, right? Because even though he's playing solid and he's doing this defensive style, Raze is always finding a crack, and he always makes sure to exploit it every single time. And then, Creature just falls apart from there. So it's like, don't let him get to that point, do something that is going to throw Raze off in the beginning of the game so that it at least messes around with him. And then he's oh my goodness, Reaper going to be able to, okay, he goes down, but at least he did take out that probe. Now, triple command center build out of Raze. Raze is switching it up. What do you think of this?
This is fantastic. You can also see a little bit of games 1 and 2 filtering into Creature's third game, losing that early probe. Yes, the Reaper went down, but with a longer distance by ground, the Step's going to have a worse time scouting Raze, and that is going to give Raze the opportunity to get away with this incredibly greedy build. But the one thing I'm worried about, though, is I feel like Creature, if he can get into that zone, he'll have all his tools in his arsenal, his Disruptor, his Colossus, his Gateway, and if he goes uncontested, then the Protoss, maybe not Death Ball, but the Disruptor's Death Ball right there. Maybe the Protoss Death Ball Disruptor will be able to get him into the late and end game.
Yeah, I really like Creature's mid-late game as well, so let's see how he ends up approaching this one. It is going to be a Stargate opener for the first time this series, and this is what I'm talking about, right? Started off here. I didn't see if the Reaper was able to scout, but it got taken out. Usually, you need to keep that Reaper alive in order to scout this out. So, one thing, I think he did because he's making a turret already. Oh!
Nice scan. Sees the Stargate, sees the gate, sees everything. There is a build you can do in PvT, I think also more so in PvZ, that would be Adept pushed by ground and then into Oracle, pulling the army out of position, maybe pulling Marines, whatever, but whatever it can be multi-pronged works far better than single prong. Think about that with an actual fork. Like, it works far better instead of having a knife to have a fork to stab things.
Well, you ever had like a plastic fork and then it breaks and then you only have like one? I think,
Then you try to take like the broken part and you're eating from that, but
then
looks
you
like Oracle, don't go into the missile turret. Marines reposition. Creature has to fall back, or at least find a different trajectory / angle into the natural.
Yeah, that's only 5 Marines there, but he does not commit, so he's already taken the damage there on the Oracle. There is no turret inside of the natural, but Marines are going to at least be able to group up to 6, never letting that Oracle have a chance in hell to get any damage done.
That Oracle is like a little dying bug on the ground. It's like going in circles, like, oh, I don't know what to do, I'm stuck in left turn.
Oh, sucks. Feels really bad, man. And honestly, when you invest in a Stargate like that, you do want to get a few SCV kills. It's not really the day anymore or at least the times anymore, where the Oracle will end the game in most cases. So, with the triple command center build, not killing any probes, or rather not killing any SCVs, is going to be brutal. If this is your choice of tech and you didn't get any damage done with it, Raze is going to have so much economy in this early stage of the game that creatures might get overwhelmed, man.
There's not as many mid-game transitions from the start yet, I feel like. There's the late game where, yes, you can go into Tempest, you can get carriers, and those are good, but it's not like you went Twilight Council, now you can go into Templar Archives, or Twilight Council, now you can get Blink. So you stunted yourself in that transition a little bit more. But still, Stasis Wards are good, especially if your opponent is two-basing you. But that's the key here. Raze has turned the game on its head. He's not two-basing, he's going for a very heavy three-base macro play.
Yep. And I mean, why not? He's been so aggressive in the past couple games. Getting the third command center up, you look at that production tab, it is going to start getting crazy. Because when he gets that three-base economy and then he starts to get the infrastructure, you see Raze in macro mode, he works so well when he can macro off of three bases, whatever the matchup is. Like, every game that I've seen and he gets on this three-base economy, he knows exactly how to macro, like, perfectly. So... You know, Creature, I'm a little bit worried if he's just going to try to sit back and, you know, try to get the ultimate army off of, you know, the three bases that he's going to have.
And once again, going for that kind of quote-unquote ultimate army. Colossi, Blink, making sure he covers all of his bases.
Yeah.
Yet the key here is he changed his early game. He changed his foundation to this, which even though didn't get damage done, at least Raze has silently opted to allow Creature to get into this later stage of the game, take a third base. And now, what I think it may come down to is, number one, who's aggressive first, number two, the third base positions. Creature, Raze is a lot easier time diving on Creature's third than diving up into his main.
Yep.
But more importantly, Creature's going to have a lot easier time with Warp Prism,
exactly.
Warp Prism harass at the third since it's so far away. So how do they decide to be aggressive? And within that, each has their own respective advantage in that way, which they may be able to leverage into a win in a game.
Well, as far as production goes, I would give that to Raze here because he's going to have an easier time just doing that frontal attack. Doesn't have to worry as much about multi-pronged if he's able to just overwhelm. But, you know, Colossi and you start to get force fields and even the stasis wards. I love these out of Creature. So anything that you can do in order to at least prevent a frontal attack, going to be really nice when it comes down to it because Raze is definitely going to start to spike in supply here. So
what's great about those stasis wards in general is even if they don't stop the army and there's a scan somehow and they see it, it's basically like a Protoss creep spread. You get a little bit of vision across the map. That's incredibly important on a map like Newkirk Precinct where there are so many alleyways. It's not even so many alleyways, it's so many broad, vast ways. It's not choke points in this map. It's more of these larger flanks and larger disruption of concaves that the architecture provides instead of a big choke point.
I mean, look at this already. If he's able to get enough units, he can definitely surround all that. And it always comes down to that with Colossi.
There's the stasis ward.
What I'm talking about.
That may be what Creature needs. Creature wants to jump out, jump on Raze's army, and engage only half of it to kill it, and then deal with the other one. We'll see if he has that opportunity. Raze may decide to jump into the main or natural or third of Creature. For now, Creature's just looking for some guaranteed kill, and I would not sacrifice this Colossi. One could go down if you see a quick stim, but the kill's going to be quick enough at the same time.
He knows about the drop.
Blinks to the Metavax, pushes them back, and there we start to see Creature taking a substantial, maybe not substantial, but actual lead, losing nothing and getting something.
Exactly, right? Like, Raze was trying to get something cool done, but that Observer was able to spot it, and we've seen that Raze did slip a bit in the macro department when it did happen, so... Hey. Oh, these Stalkers aren't going to get it, and now I don't know what's in the main.
Let's see, couple Stalkers already, and another Warp-In should be adequate to snipe at least the first one, and then snipe another one. Mothership Core is coming from the natural base. We'll see how good its position was. There's the Mothership Core, some nice build on overcharges, but remember, these Metavacs can simply bail out of here. Disruptor is out in the main base, coming right in the nick of time to defend against this heavy bio Marauder attack.
Uh-oh, he's pulling all of Creature's army.
Oh, another stasis ward. This is exactly what Creature needs to shut down half the army at a time, and now he can actually bring his entire army into his own Protoss main base and defend Raze's attack.
Yeah, that's actually a really good stasis ward because the time that it takes to get all the way back to the third is going to be quite a bit. Oh,
beautiful blink out of the way.
That's a lot of DPS that got taken out. So that third, in a lot of cases, would be able to get sniped, and then, you know, the Terran just gets on out of there. So not going to happen this time. Good stasis wards, and then that even allows Creature to kill the army because I think by the time that it gets out of the ward, no, fortunately not going to be the case.
Each of the attacks of Raze that have gone in have just kind of been disjointed. They've ran in and maybe dislocated their shoulder as it's happening, and half the army isn't quite there. And oh my word! No, didn't die. I thought they were all going to go off these huge attacks.
I thought the same thing. Oh, that could have been bad.
The Creature is starting to take engagement. Creature is starting to take these good engagements, and it's very much because of how he set the foundation differently. I'm going to go Stargate instead of trying to set up in a kind of safe middle ground build where I can react however I want. He was decisive early game, and that helped him out with Stasis Ward.
Yeah, really cool stuff. I mean, here he goes, and to take out those Widow Mines with that Disruptor. Really nice, especially if you don't have your Observer in position. 3 Widow Mines, though, is still here. I don't know if he remembers about them, but one goes.
Those could go off into the Sentries, and that would be devastating. No Guardian Shield, no Force Fields.
Okay, so he does take it out. No, the 2, they are still there.
Oh, no, the Disruptor!
The Disruptor again.
2 Widow Mines are one-shotted, I think. Right? No,
Should
there
be,
we go. Both go down.
1 Disruptor, 1 shots.
Simultaneously, Raze thrusters in the north position, the top right-hand corner, looking to stim in and snipe Creature's 4th base. Nothing's here on the defense, and this is what he needs to get right here. After losing a couple of these engagements, he needs to even it out. At least it's a big enough map where it's hard for Creature to counterattack after he kills the army of Raze. So each time Raze has a little bit of time to use his macro to pull himself back into the game.
Yeah, and it's what he's been doing really nicely. Didn't really have the best trades, as you did mention, but he's keeping up with his upgrades. Creature as well, though, you know, almost going to be on 3-3. And the ultimate army that I'm talking about, you know, he's actually starting to get to it. Oh my, those Colossi are out. The Disruptors are starting to join as well. So, yeah, man. Honestly, the only thing that he would have to add are going to be the Tempest when it comes down to it. If the Liberators get into play, good full-ton overcharges, but one is not actually in range.
Another snipe of the 4th base. Creature has to be careful. He also has Marines in his main, Marines in his 3rd base, trying to go for as many kills as they can. Nice Widow Mine shot. Those Widow Mine are actually, no, they went the ones from earlier on. They were placed a little bit later. But what you're seeing here is a nice multi-pronged attack, and each of these multi-pronged attacks have something to support them. Whether it's a Liberator or Widow Mines, they have something that inadvertently Creature cannot pursue him onto.
Oh, another one of the Stasis Wards. I really like this a lot. But we are getting the Fusion Core from Raze at the same time, so he is going to be transitioning into Liberators, and he's adding another Starport as well. So getting that 4th base up, and then being able to really pump out those Liberators is going to be so nice for him.
Those Marauders may be able to snipe one of these Colossi if they're not careful with a big stim. There's enough Marauders. There's one Colossi down, possibly a second one.
And he gets 1. I mean, hey, that's making the best out of a crappy situation. And here he goes. He's clicking onto that Nexus. He's not going to let it finish, though. Leaves the Marines to die. And boost on into the main at the same time. Creature's starting to fall apart. He's supply blocked. He can't warp in to defend. Colossus is going to have to do this here. At least he does take it out. He's starting to get peeled apart, though, Drenok.
Yeah, Raze is up 2-0, trying to take this final game in the PSISTORM Cup. Number 4 final, snipes the 3rd. Creature has to all in right now, and even though in the beginning, Creature was somewhat able to dictate the play of Raze, somewhat able to put pressure on Raze and disallow him from the early attack, now in this mid to late game, Raze is flipping it back on its head, keeping this pressure going, and Creature is not allowed to move out, he's not allowed to macro up, and because of this, he has to now move across and attempt to finish this game, while Raze has been safely back at home, taking more bases and putting himself into an even phenomenal position to even lose a few bases if he did, or lose an army.
Yep, down goes the Disruptor. That is a huge, heavy Marauder composition right now, coming out of Raze, who does have 3-3 at the same time, and this is mainly Stalkers and Colossi, so I mean, what is he really supposed to deal with this with?
Do we have Storm, by the way? I know we have High Templars
I don't think he has
there was
Storm.
not an earlier Storm when it seemed like he should have when Raze pushed forward into this army.
He does have Storm.
We'll see. Creature comes around the column, looking for an engagement around these Liberators. Liberators fall back. Liberator upgrades are on the way, by the way, so in a map like this, they're going to be able to shut down a couple of these locations and provide some choke points. But we'll see, this could be the final battle. Not really nice concave, beautiful force field. There's the Storm, and really shoves the army of Raze back while simultaneously getting rid of these Liberators, the Stalkers. But is there enough here to defend the Colossi with the DPS?
It's mainly Marauders, Drenok, and this could be the push. He's going in, he's targeting down the Colossi, and the Stalkers are going to be next. I think Raze is going to be your champion if he's able to break on through here.
So close. Raze is at 2-0, 1 game away from winning this best of 5, taking home $500. Raze is leading Creature's Adepts right on top of the Widow Mines. We'll see, there's the GG grabs. Raze does it, 3-0, takes the win with a very decisive games 1, 2, and 3. Aggression after aggression after aggression. In that last game, Raze knowingly gave Creature a little bit of an advantage by saying, I'll play the macro game, and then almost Creature was able to take that tempo lead where he could start pressuring his opponent and get some intensity up, but was not allowed to keep it in the mid to late game because of Raze's phenomenal smooth transitions from attack after attack after attack.
Like, it was looking really promising again for Creature. I was like, oh my god, he's actually doing it again, right? And then all of a sudden you look at the supply and it's like, wait, Creature's at like 140. and Raze is at 190. Like, what the hell's going on right now, right?
Those claps, by the way, you can hear in the
I know,
the someone
they
cheers.
get it.
That's
They get it.
the 30-second delay. Yeah, thanks, production guy. You rock,
Hot
man.
damn. All right, this guy, your new PSISTORM Cup champion.
$500, boys.
Woo!
Face right here, guys.
Selfie time. All right, man. Oh, man. Raze does it with a 3-0. Like a boss. Gonna ask you how you feel about this. You want to give homeboy the...
Get in here. Get in this interview.
Get your... We don't have the couch anymore, man.
Yeah, it's pretty disappointing, actually.
It is what it is, yeah. So, you did it.
Yeah.
You did it, man. You know, your boy, first of all, I wanted to say congratulations. I don't know, what are you gonna be drinking out of that? What's the first thing you're gonna drink out of that?
We'll have to see on
We'll
that
have
one. Yeah.
Wow. So, you know, how does it feel? First of all, you're the first, I think, non-PSISTORM player to win the PSISTORM Cup.
Feels pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, and you're
Yeah.
playing your teammate Creature. I know that you and Tesla play quite a bit. How often do you and Creature play?
About as often as Tesla and I. Creature and I play more often in tournaments.
Okay.
Tesla I didn't actually play until a couple months ago in any tournament.
Okay.
Which is funny because we go to all the same ones. But yeah, I was really worried going into the match because like usually I do very well against Creature on ladder, but he beats me in tournaments.
Okay.
Like the second and third PSISTORM I lost 1-2 to him, and then the third one I beat him 2-1 and then lost 1-2 in the next round because that was going into playoffs.
Yep.
And then today I lost 1-2 to him
Oh.
in stages earlier, and so I was pretty worried going in. But
Just in case they're not hearing you, just in case.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay, so that's good though. Then you kind of had that mental block going in, but it didn't really stop you from going in and 3-0ing. Do you think you just played out of your mind, or did you see weakness in Creature's play today?
After the first game, like I knew exactly what I wanted to do with the series, and that like I think gave me a huge mental advantage because I just had a massive build order advantage in every single like game after that. Because the first game, like I just opened up very standard, and I got more damage done than you normally do, which meant that everything just sort of snowballed, and then my big 2-base push just like slowly killed him, and he couldn't stop it.
Yeah.
And so in game 2. I went gas first, Reaper expand, like almost every time I played him before then. So I went gas first, but I didn't go Reaper expand, I proxied a factory, but I sent the SCV down to make it look like I was building a command center, and he just ran the probe away. So he thought I was playing like a normal game, whereas I was like doing like something pretty cheesy.
Yeah.
So then that was like, that worked out like pretty well. Like the first one of mine didn't do that much damage, but like the next wave started getting like lots of kills. Yeah, and then like it just forced him into a really bad position where he had to try to all in me, but I had a bunch of bio back at home.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
then
because you tried with the Stalkers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then after playing so aggressive off 2 bases the previous 2 games, I just went like straight 3 command
Triple
center.
command center.
Yeah, because like I knew that was like the last thing he would expect because I haven't done that in like forever versus
Exactly.
him or versus anyone else. So
And you
like
had
it's
to
just
run.
yeah. So because of that, like he played super safe, super passive, like which would have been like great if I was doing another 2-base push because he was getting Colossi before his third. But because of that, he was taking his third as I was landing my third,
I
which
saw
like
that.
puts me at a massive advantage in that. And then like
Playing
actually-
the series.
yeah, like I had a really big supply advantage because of that, and he actually defended the first wave really, really well, but then he started to fall apart when I started being able to hit with multi-prongs.
Yeah, is that what usually happens with y'all? Because like what I was noticing a lot, especially, would be he defends at first really well. And then all it takes is one slip up from him, and then it seemed like you would capitalize on that and never let it up. You know, you never let up as soon as you saw that one crack.
Especially in TVP, I play a very like tempo-based style where like I try to
Oh, that's your boy.
That's
good.
I try to like find some sort of weakness to get my opponent on the back foot, and then just like find an opening, and then I just like hammer into the openings again and again and again until they break.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like the first wave, like with the first win of mine dropping with that, it's like something that you're kind of expecting and you know exactly where it's going to come from, and you're like, you've been waiting all game for that.
Exactly.
And then it's like the waves after that where you don't really know where they're going and you aren't quite as mentally prepared for it.
Okay.
So
That's probably, yeah. Like at first, it's like the first wave, you're like, okay, I did it. And you feel good probably about yourself. But it did happen a lot when that, you know, you finally found it. And, man, it just was crazy to see just how much, and the macro behind it. I think that's what's really impressive, because a lot of the times you will see that aggressive play, and then you look back and it's like, oh, I have like, 2,000 minerals, and you're not able to sustain it. But, you kept it up. You took the fourth even during that, and then, you're keeping up your upgrades and all that too. So, I don't know, man. You just really pulled it out this tournament, man, and it must feel pretty good. You know, this is
Yeah,
the
that
first live tournament win that at least that I've been
first finals I've ever been in.
at. Really?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
feels good, man.
Yeah, it was the last 4 matches I was down 0-1 to start off with, and they were all best of 3s. So if I had lost one more game, I would have been done. So that was
Dang.
super stressful, like going from one to the next, and they were all like really long, drawn out
Close
best of 3s. Like especially the ones versus like Warren and Caleb, just took like so.
Oh
long.
yeah. I was actually watching that series, man. Oh my god. Yeah, that's actually really impressive though, because you know, we've been playing today for quite a bit of time, right? It's been like 7-8 hours.
Yeah, this is like the first land that I got like a decent amount of sleep beforehand, so
Okay.
maybe that helped somewhat.
That
but
does tend to help, yeah, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty tired right now. I think everyone is like.
It's all good though, right? You
Yeah.
can sleep easy. I'm sure you're gonna
Oh,
sleep
yeah.
good tonight. You gonna take the boys out?
We'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see.
All right. Well, if there's anything else you want to say, actually, a bunch of your homies are here as well. I see, you know, Travis up in there. A couple of people were there. If you have anything to say to them as well as any of your fans, where they can find you, and if you're going to be streaming and all that, and what your next move is.
So I'd like to give a brief shout out to my team, Team Ascension, for supporting me, sending me to events, everything like this. We have like a whole bunch of people here. It's a lot of fun getting up, meet all my friends, and like they've done a lot for me. Also, Sloth Esports shirt I'm wearing because they are our main sponsor, which is like really really cool, and like the mat pads are like awesome.
They're
and,
so
like,
good. They're
yeah,
actually like legit good.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Like
okay.
the first time I got one, I was like, all right, I'll sit down and just like use this because the guy just gave it to me for free. And then I was like, wow, this is actually like better than my other mouse pads. So
I used one as well at home too.
Yeah.
He was actually in the chat a bit earlier, I believe, and I think he was on Twitter, you know, rooting for everybody to.
yeah.
So beast, man.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I know that you stream as well. You know.
Yep, that would be twitch.tv/Raze79. I'm trying to stream as much as possible, but like my Wi-Fi at college is like very shaky, so I can't do it as much as I want. And also shout out to PSISTORM for putting on this awesome event. It was a ton of fun, always is.
Yeah. I mean, damn right. You damn no. Just kidding. It's actually really fun. It's always good to see you guys. You know, you guys do come out in full force, and it's great that you you know, come out to these tournaments, whether it be this one. I know like Cheesadelphia as well. Team Ascension definitely.
I know we joked about this before the match, but it does almost feel like a PSISTORM versus TA clan.
Yeah,
sometimes,
like-
'cause, like we always both send so many people to like Cheesadelphia and here. So
Indeed. All right. Well, guess that's gonna be it, guys. You are looking at your champion for PSISTORM Cup number 4. Give it up. Woo! And until the next one, not sure when it's going to be, but, you know, this is a great event, probably in March. So in the springtime, it's going to be a bit warmer. I'm sure that should be nice. It's a little bit rough sometimes when it's cold. Yeah. Whoa, what?
I'll have to come back for that one.
Bigger everything. You know, we're just, you know, getting bigger and bigger. So definitely stay tuned to that. And much love to everybody that did come out, especially here in the chat. Those that are viewing it, shout out to Gauntlet SC2, you know, really huge shout out, man. Awesome, man. Good job.
Thanks
Really
for coming
huge
out.
shout out to the Gauntlet dudes, right? Like,
Thank you all for coming out. God bless you. Good night.
Indeed. We love you, though. Much love. I'm Tempo. My co-caster was Drenok. We out. Hope to see you on the next one.